Hello all, welcome back to once again to another interesting episode under the Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav story series by Momish Town Musings. Today I'm going to introduce you to a very special person who is an octogenarian actually, but he has proved that age is just a number and it shouldn't and it will not dictate our mind and body if we really think so. So, we are not going too far into the history pages books today. We're just going into the late 17th century to early 18th century to meet this person. He is none other than Kunwar Singh, who is fondly called as Veer Kunwar Singh or Babu Kunwar Singh by his followers. He is the zamindari of the Aarey region from the current Bihar. It was the year 1777 when the Jagadishpur fort in the Aarey region of the current Bihar had a very good news as they got the second rather, male child in their family. His parents are Shahjabaz Singh and Pancharatna Devi. They both belong to the Ujjaina clan of Parmar Rajputs, who associate themselves as the King Raja Boja or King Boj descendants, and that is the reason why the bravery, the dedication for motherland, the love for motherland, everything is flowing in their blood, right, from their ancestors. As a child, Kumar Singh never spent his time in the frivolous activities, doing some pastime, but whereas he was always trying to hone his skills in the military side, on the military skills front, like archery, artillery, martial arts, wrestling, and everything. He used to always think more like a matured person who wanted basically, rule his jamindari in a very a nice way and guard his jamindari from all the forthcoming invaders. And that is the time when Britishers were collecting taxes from everybody. Seizing one fort or the other, seizing the jamindari systems everywhere, right? So he as a child, Kumar Singh used to always ask his father as to why all these things are happening. Why can't we rule our own kingdoms or the jamindaris? Why we should let foreigners come and rule us? Why we should pay taxes for ruling our own people? What is it that is so different in them that is not there in us? These are the questions that keep plaguing him because he's a very matured person and he was always asking for the benefit of the society. And uh, as soon as he took the reins from his father, he started. He had, because he's already mixing with all the people in his jamindar. He understood the real problems his people in his jamindari are actually facing it, because though the main rivers are flowing amidst their jamindari region, there are no proper channels for the water to flow from the main rivers to the agricultural lands. And because of that, the heat is also very high in the summers. So he's become a very environmentally conscious person, and he planted a lot of trees, dug a lot of lakes and ponds and all this stuff. In fact, that came to his benefit at a later date when he started doing the guerrilla attacks on the Britishers. In fact, Kumar Singh is known as the second to Shivaji Maharaj in the guerrilla attacks, because the way he uses his strategies, the way he attacks Britishers without anybody knowing, got him really famous, and people started calling him as the junior Shivaji at that point of time in his zamindari. And it is the year 1857. Everywhere the small small revolts are happening across the country against Britishers. And when the news of the Meerut revolt reached the RA region, immediately Kumar Singh met along with his followers and started talking to all the other jamindaris from Kashi, Rewa, Azamgarh, and all the nearby small small kingdoms, or the jamindaris, to understand what are their thoughts about this independence revolt. Should they participate in it or not? Um, Obviously, because he's such a intuitive leader all the people have chosen him as their leader. At that point of time, we should also know that he is of 80 years age. He is not a person who thought that yes, he's reached a certain age where he needs to dissociate himself from the jamindari responsibilities and take a back seat and let that his future descendants continue this jamindari work. But he felt that the time has come for him to show his love for the motherland and be at the forefront to safeguard his people subjects and safeguard his motherland, basically his empire, from the Britishers' atrocities. So he agreed for leading the troops, I mean, basically from the Bihar side, and his brother Amit Singh also helped him along with this, and both of them are called the leaders of the Bihari revolt during the first revolt of the Indian independence movement. And Kumar Singh and his troops has first went and attacked the district headquarters in RA, where the East Indian Company officials and the British Army generals were all stationed. Were all residing. These people have fortified that district headquarters in such a way that nobody can from outside can enter, and nobody can from inside can go out. So that they thought this Bihari mutiny or this Bengal mutiny or Lucknow revolt, everything will pass away within a span of few days, because Britishers have such a huge army. They have lot more power, artillery, army people, gunpowder, everything to squash this small revolts that are happening across different regions, isn't it? So these Britishers have actually stored all the food, required essentials so that they can live for a week or so within the this district headquarters. But Kumar Singh and his troops waited patiently for a week. By the time all their essentials are over in the RA district headquarters, and the Britishers had to come out, and that's when they Kumar Singh had laid the siege on the RA headquarters and raised hoisted their flag on the RA headquarters. But Britishers are not the ones who are to be left behind, right? They already sent a message to their higher ups in Delhi asking for more and more support so that they can squash this revolt that is being, led by Kumar Singh and his troops with the help of the additional forces, which uh, along with the Major Vincent Ides' help, these Britishers have taken back the RA district headquarters, but also, I mean, seized the fort, which is the homeland for our Kumar Singh, right? So Kumar Singh is not the person who will not. Again, it's like Kumar Singh is the person who will not stand back and let Jagdishpur fort get into the hands of Britishers. The moment Britishers marched into the Jagdishpur area, Kumar Singh and his troops marched out to Azamgarh, which is the next biggest headquarters for Britishers in UP. At that point of time, they captured the Azamgarh fort. The moment they captured the Azamgarh fort, the Britishers had to really fight nail and tooth to get the control back of the Azamgarh fort. So they called all the troops who actually captured the Jagdishpur fort back, most of the troops back to Azamgarh to support them in their fight with Kumar Singh. And luckily, luckily for Britishers, they could get the control back of the Azamgarh. But Kumar Singh once again came back from Azamgarh to Jagdishpur to recapture his fort, because that is his homeland, right? He doesn't want Jagdishpur to go into the Britishers' hands at any cost. And he was crossing the river at that point of time. One of the commanders' rifle bullet has hit the left hand of Kumar Singh, and Kumar Singh is the one person who, I mean, basically who will not take this bullet lying down, right? Though all his followers, his own brother, were advising him to stop the war, take some rest, and then we can, after he recovers, they can go and take the control of the Jagdishpur fort. Kumar Singh didn't agree to their words. He immediately took the sword in his hands, cut his left hand with his right hand, and while and he put through that left hand into river Ganga, which is flowing on which they were crossing, saying that Ma Durga, I'm giving this as my sacrifice to you so that you can help me in driving away the Britishers from my motherland, because I want my motherland to be safe and secure for the people whom I'm responsible for. None of my people should get tortured in the hands of the Britishers. I mean, I don't know. I mean, the moment I'm hearing this story, actually, tears started welling up in my ears, because an 80-year-old person is so dedicated towards motherland, his responsibilities, his call of duty. What are we doing here? I don't know. I just couldn't stop thinking about, are we misutilizing the our freedom today? Are we really using the freedom what these people have fought so hard for and given us in an appropriate way? So many thoughts started plaguing me. But anyways, it's time for the story. So let us move on with the story. These people, along with Kumar Singh, everybody has gone to Jagdishpur, fought a very long and hard battle for next 2 days, won the Jagdishpur fort, and they raised the original flag of Kumar Singh's family, which was flying in a very happy way on the Jagdishpur fort. Unfortunately, they couldn't celebrate this victory because already the poison from the bullet has entered into the body of Kumar Singh. And he, remember that he's an 80-year-old person. How much ever his mind is strong, his body can become weak if already attacked by some wounds and some infections, isn't it? So and the day people, Kumar Singh had passed away after 2 days or one day, as soon as people have captured the Jagdishpur fort. But his sacrifice has never gone in vain, because Britishers didn't come back to Bihar for a long time. That is the Bihar, I shouldn't say Bihar or the RA region, for a long time. That is all is the story for today, my dear friends. I hope you like this story. But the sacrifice Veer Kunwar Singh or the Babu Kumar Singh has made, and how he stood behind his people, how he stood in the front line to fight against all the people. And in fact, he's defeated so many people who are half of his age, who are of the age of his sons or the grandsons. He never got deterred by their engage. He never got deterred by their, well-built bodies. He knew that he can do it, and that mental strength is one thing which I need to take a bow definitely, and hopefully we all have to learn a lot from his mental strength, which is very much needed in today's competitive world. I hope you like this story. Let us meet tomorrow with another interesting story. That's all for today. Bye bye.